My parents and sister Maya died when their yacht exploded at sea. There were no survivors. Staring at the empty house and mountains of debt, I was absolutely heartbroken and ready to jump off the roof, when a flood of cruel comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. Your parents actually won $300 million in the lottery and took Maya overseas to live the high life. Dot. Maya has no clue. Her poor, blind ex-boyfriend, the one she dumped, is actually Liam King, heir to the wealthy King family. He was just faking being poor with her. Dot. When Maya blows through all the money and comes back, Liam King will be furious and lock her up to punish her. Dot. Chloe. Jump already. We're waiting for Maya to get back. Dot. I suddenly changed my mind about dying that night. Soaked to the bone and drunk, I stumbled into Liam King's apartment. After a wild night with Liam, I woke up with every muscle in my body sore. Liam opened his eyes right at that moment. He was blind. He'd lost his sight in a car crash 6 months earlier. My sister Maya had dumped him countless times, disgusted by his poverty and disability. But for a split second, I had this weird feeling he was staring straight at me. But just as quickly, his eyes went back to their usual empty, unfocused stare. He spoke in a rough, hoarse voice. Maya, is that you? The malicious comments surged again. What the hell? Chloe didn't kill herself. How is she sleeping with Liam? Unbelievable. Is she trying to impersonate Maya? Liam's vision was restored ages ago. If she dares lie to him, she'll regret it big time. So he could see this whole time? I bit my lip, trying to calm my racing heart, forcing helplessness into my voice. No, I'm her sister. Chloe. My sister. She's gone. Yesterday, I meant to bring you some of her things, but I got drunk and don't remember anything after that. Glancing at our torn clothes balled up on the floor, I looked away awkwardly. Did you mistake me for Maya last night? I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have drunk so much. I was just so heartbroken. I'm all alone now, after all. I let out soft, trembling sobs. The comments swirled. What an idiot. She's still making excuses for Liam. Liam wasn't really blind yesterday. When she threw herself at him soaking wet, I saw Liam react right away. That any guy would react to a hot, wet girl throwing herself at him. This chick's a total schemer. Isn't she? A slight tremor ran through my body. The thin blanket slipped off my shoulder, exposing red marks on my pale skin. Liam's Adam's apple bobbed up and down. After a long pause, he finally spoke. I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else. With teary eyes, I fumbled to wrap the torn clothes around myself. In that case, let's just forget this happened. I'll leave now. Please don't be upset. I stood up, my legs wobbly, nearly collapsing. Liam reached out to steady me. The second his fingertips brushed my wrist, I flinched. The comments started again, spewing insults. Liam won't be upset. He already knows Maya faked her death. That even those debt collectors, he hired them. Pushing Chloe to suicide was his first warning to Maya. That Maya has no clue her spot's been taken. That this is so frustrating. Chloe, just die already. I ducked my head and rushed out the door. When I got home, the debt collectors who'd been hanging around downstairs were gone. My heart dropped. They really were sent by Liam. I shut the door and collapsed onto the floor, completely drained. Every inch of my body ached. Of course, I hadn't been drunk originally. When I was desperate, I just wanted to get a little sympathy from Liam, hoping he'd go easy on me. I never expected him to react so intensely, keeping me up all night. I curled my lips into a bitter smile. Liam had lost his eyesight in a car crash while saving Maya. But after he went blind and became disabled, Maya wouldn't even look at him. He never answered his messages. She made him wait 3 hours in the freezing winter rain, while she video chatted with someone else upstairs. She hated his cheap gifts, tossing them in the trash right in front of him. I used to think he was wasting his time, but now it seemed like it was all just some rich kid's game. The comments suddenly erupted into an argument. For some reason, I think Maya made the right choice. Who doesn't want a rich guy? Who'd want a boyfriend who's both blind and broke? Even if Liam wanted to test her loyalty, playing games like this is totally unnecessary. But let's be real. Maya might be selfish, but she's just lucky. Once she and Liam make up, she'll become Mrs. King. And Liam will still spoil her rotten. That exactly. Good girls finish last. Bad girls get everything. That reading those comments, I thought they were completely ridiculous. Growing up, my parents always favored Maya over me. She stole my toys, my clothes, my scholarships. After I started working, I pulled all-nighters every day. And they take my paycheck to pay for Maya's expensive dance lessons and designer stuff. They wanted me to prop her up, make sure she succeeded. Now they'd won $300 million in the lottery. Not only did they abandon me with mountains of debt, but they wanted to use my life to pave her way, too. Why should she get everything while I die like a dog? Resentment coiled around my heart like a poisonous vine. I'd always picked up Maya's leftovers anyway. Since Liam was one of her cast-offs, I might as well take him and use him. My next run-in with Liam happened sooner than I expected. As I walked out of the hotel where I worked part-time, completely worn out, I looked up and saw Liam standing across the street. A cigarette hung from his lips and a white cane leaned against his leg. The rich really have the strangest hobbies. Maya was gone, but Liam King was still keeping up his little act. Not far away, a guy seemed to recognize him and approached. With a fake smile, I called out suddenly, "Liam." I marched right over to him. Before he could say anything, I grabbed his wrist. "Come with me." I spoke quickly, lowering my voice. "I saw someone suspicious approaching you. Probably debt collectors. My sister took out a huge loan before she left. And since you were her boyfriend, they'll definitely come after you. You can't see you'll be in danger. You got hurt saving my sister, so I'll look out for you in her place. Don't worry. As long as I'm around, I won't let them hurt you. I'll never leave you." My voice was so sincere it almost sounded religious. "Will you trust me?" I don't know what part of that got to him. Liam hesitated, then took a lazy step forward. He let me lead him, and I took him back to my place. And I kept my word, taking care of him like he was my own family. When his stomach acted up, I'd get up in the middle of the night to buy him medicine. Since he couldn't see, I'd hold his hand and guide him to feel his way around, over and over until he knew where everything was. Even when I was starving myself, I'd spend every cent I had to take him to a doctor appointments. Through it all, Liam would just look at me coldly, a hint of amusement sometimes flashing in his eyes. At the hospital, the doctor shook his head and said there was no improvement. I could barely hide my disappointment and heartache. Walking out of the exam room, Liam suddenly laughed bitterly. "I heard you sigh. Is this really worth it? You're not the one who's blind. Why are you so upset?" I stopped and suddenly cupped his face in my hands. Liam's eyes flickered with surprise, barely hidden. "You mean a lot to me," I said, looking straight into his eyes. "So your pain hurts me too. You have such beautiful eyes. I won't give up on them." Liam's Adam's apple bobbed and he gave me a complicated look. My face showed how sad I was, but I forced a smile into my voice. Honestly, I was thinking, if you could see again, I'd do anything. When we got home, I dragged him inside with teary eyes. While pouring water, I accidentally spilled half the cup on myself. Thin fabric clung to my body when it got wet, showing off my curves. Liam's expression changed. I noticed a subtle shift in his posture. Biting my lip, I pulled him close by his collar and kissed him first. Liam froze for a second before taking control of the kiss. The next morning, my body ached even more than the first time. I pushed through the discomfort and got up. Liam was already up, tossed a necklace at me. "I picked this up at a street vendor a while back. It's not worth much, but it's pretty. For you." The comments suddenly exploded. "Unbelievable. How did Liam end up with this, Chloe? Doesn't he know Maya got tricked into gambling and is in real danger?" I assent that the diamond Liam bought at the auction. "Why is he giving it to Chloe? It was supposed to be a peace offering for Maya, after she flipped out about being locked up. Are you crazy, Chloe? How dare you go after Maya's guy?" I ignored the crazy comments, looking at the necklace in my hand with fake surprise. A diamond from an auction. That must be worth a fortune, right? If I sold it, would that set me up for life? Just then, new comments popped up. "Relax, everyone. Can't you see Liam's just stringing Chloe along? The King family had found out about his wild behavior this year and flipped, ordering him home immediately. That Liam's worried Chloe will cling to him, so he's putting on a whole show. He'll hire guys to fake his kidnapping, then stage his death at sea right in front of her, to crush her hopes completely. Chloe's such a lovesick fool. Can't she tell? Liam looks at her like she's a stray dog." Liam was leaving. I tightened my grip on the diamond, suddenly feeling cheated. I played my part so well these days. All I got was a lousy diamond. Meanwhile, Maya did nothing and would get everything just by coming back. That wasn't fair. That afternoon, Liam said he needed to go out alone and told me not to follow. I knew exactly what he was up to, and I had my own plans too. I went to the pharmacy and bought a pregnancy test. Thinking about the recent changes in my body, my heart was racing. When I saw the 2 bright red lines on the test, I let out a huge sigh of relief. I still had an ace up my sleeve in this game. Just then my phone rang. "Chloe, right? You don't pay up, you pay the price. Liam's with me now. If you don't want him dead, get to this address." When I got there, I saw Liam's back. He was tied to the railing of an abandoned cargo ship, hands bound behind his back. Kidnapper gave me an evil grin. I only gave you 20 minutes. You're too late. His time's up. With that, he cut the rope right in front of me. Liam, still tied up, fell straight into the ocean. My eyes went wide. The next second, I ran forward without thinking. I jumped in. The water was freezing, and my vision started to blur. Through the haze, I saw the Liam figure untie himself and swim smoothly towards shore. I scoffed to myself. Liam's hired double wasn't very convincing, but I still jumped in without hesitation, because I was gambling on a possibility, betting my life on it. I gambled that I would win. The water was so cold, I quickly lost strength, thinking slowly toward the ocean floor. Just as I thought I'd lost the bet, someone gasped and dove into the water. I forced my eyes open. The last thing I saw was Liam's panicked face, a look I'd never seen on him before. When I came to in the hospital, my whole body felt icy cold to the bone. I heard the doctor scolding Liam beside me. Do you realize she's pregnant? And you took her to a place like that? What kind of boyfriend are you? Thankfully, the baby's okay, but she's severely malnourished. If you want this child, you need to take better care of her. Liam didn't argue. He turned to look at my unconscious form. His expression complicated. Chloe, do you really love me that much? You'd risk your life to save mine? And just then I opened my eyes. Our eyes met for 2 seconds before I quickly looked away. My voice was weak but steady. Doctor, I want to terminate the pregnancy. Liam's eyes sharpened. What did you say? I turned my head away. This baby shouldn't be born. I'm getting rid of it. Your eyes have been fine for a long time. Why did you lie to me? The silence in the hospital room stretched thin as a razor's edge. I could feel Liam's gaze boring into the side of my face, but I refused to meet his eyes. The beeping of the heart monitor seemed unnaturally loud, each pulse matching the thundering rhythm in my chest. How long have you known? His voice was dangerously quiet, stripped of the helpless tone he'd been using for months. I let out a hollow laugh that scraped my throat raw. Does it matter? You've been playing your games. I've been playing mine. We're both liars here, Liam. The doctor glanced between us, clearly sensing the tension crackling in the air like static before a storm. He cleared his throat awkwardly. I'll give you two some privacy to discuss this. The door clicked shut behind him with an uncomfortable finality. Liam moved closer to the bed, and I could smell the ocean salt still clinging to his clothes, mixed with the antiseptic hospital smell. His hair was still damp, water droplets catching the harsh fluorescent light. For the first time since I'd known him, his carefully constructed mask had completely shattered. You jumped into the ocean. His words came out rough, almost accusatory. You can't even swim properly. I pulled up your file. You nearly drowned when you were 12. So he'd been investigating me. I should have expected that. Rich people always did their homework. I finally turned to face him, my eyes burning with exhaustion and something rawer, something I didn't want to name. And you dove in after me, even though your whole plan was to fake your death and disappear. Looks like we both made some unexpected choices today. His jaw clenched. The muscle there twitched, and I noticed a small cut on his cheekbone from where the rope had scraped him during his staged kidnapping. That's different. Is it? I pushed myself up higher on the pillow, ignoring the way my vision swam. The four tugged at my arm, a sharp reminder of how close I'd come to losing everything. You hired those debt collectors to terrorize me. You orchestrated this entire elaborate performance to punish Maya for leaving you. Tell me, Liam, at what point did you realize I wasn't her? The comments flooded my vision again, a toxic waterfall I couldn't escape. Oh my God, she's confronting him. Finally, some backbone from Chloe. Liam's face right now. He looks absolutely wrecked. This is getting good. Pass the popcorn. I blinked hard, trying to focus past the swirling words only I could see. Liam's expression shifted through several emotions too quickly for me to catch them all. Anger, guilt, something that looked almost like regret. The first night. His admission came quietly. You smell different from her. Lavender and something else, maybe honey. Maya always wore that expensive French perfume your parents bought her. And your hands. He reached out, but stopped himself before touching me. You have calluses on your fingertips from working. Maya never worked a day in her life. The revelation hit me harder than I expected. All those weeks of pretending, and he'd known from the very beginning. A bitter taste flooded my mouth. So this was all just entertainment for you? Watching me scramble to survive while you pulled the strings? No. He ran a hand through his wet hair, frustration evident in every line of his body. It started that way. I won't lie to you. When you showed up that first night instead of Maya, I was furious. I thought she'd sent you as some kind of substitute, another insult. But then you kept coming back. You took care of me when you could barely afford to feed yourself. He moved closer, his presence overwhelming in the small hospital room. The shadows under his eyes suggested he hadn't slept properly in days. I watched you work 3 jobs to pay off debts that weren't even yours. I saw you give your last $10 to that homeless woman outside your building. You fell asleep studying in the library because you couldn't afford to heat your apartment at night. My throat tightened. I hadn't realized anyone was watching that closely. The vulnerability of being truly seen made me want to curl into myself. So what? You felt sorry for me? Poor little Chloe, always living in Maya's shadow. I fell for you. The words dropped between us like stones in still water, creating ripples I couldn't control. The comments went absolutely wild. What? Did he just, oh my God. This wasn't in the script. What's happening? Maya's going to lose her mind when she finds out. I stared at him, searching for any hint of deception in his face. But his eyes, those eyes that had fooled me for so long, were completely clear now. Raw, honest in a way that made my chest ache. You fell for me, I repeated slowly, tasting each word, while lying to me every single day, while letting me believe you were helpless, while planning to break me just to hurt my sister. Yes. He didn't flinch from the accusation. I know how it sounds, but somewhere between your terrible cooking and the way you describe colors to me, even though I could see them perfectly, I stopped thinking about Maya at all. You were the only thing that mattered. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly it physically hurt. But I'd spent my entire life picking up Maya's leftovers, always second choice, always the backup plan. How convenient for you to realize this now that I'm pregnant. The baby changes nothing about how I feel. He finally closed the distance between us, sitting carefully on the edge of the hospital bed. This close, I could see the faint scar on his temple from the accident that supposedly blinded him. But Chloe, you can't terminate this pregnancy because you're angry at me. If you don't want this child, that's your choice and I'll respect it. But don't make this decision out of spite. Tears burned behind my eyes. I'd cried more in the past few months than in my entire life. You think I'm doing this out of spite? I'm drowning, Liam. I can barely keep myself alive. How am I supposed to bring a baby into this mess? You're not drowning. His hand finally made contact, fingers wrapping gently around mine. His touch was warm, anchoring me when I felt like I might float away. You're the strongest person I've ever met. You survived your family's betrayal. You survived crushing debt. You survived me. A sob caught in my throat. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm breaking into a million pieces. Then let me help put you back together. His thumb traced circles on the back of my hand, the gesture achingly tender. No more games. No more lies. Just us figuring this out together. I looked down at our intertwined hands. His were elegant, unmarred by the kind of labor mine had endured. But they were also the hands that had caught me when I stumbled, that had held me through nightmares, that had pulled me from the depths of the ocean when he could have let me drown. I am scared, he whispered. The admission felt like peeling back my skin to expose the raw nerves underneath. Me too. His honesty surprised me. I've never felt this way about anyone. It's terrifying. But Chloe, I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. The comments were going insane now, but I found I didn't care anymore what they said. For the first time, I let them blur into background noise. What about Maya? I had to ask. When she comes back, because she will come back, what happens then? Liam's expression hardened. Maya made her choices. She abandoned both of us without a second thought. I wasted too much time trying to prove something to someone who never deserved my attention in the first place. He squeezed my hand gently. You want to know when I really fell for you? It was the night you came home with bruised knees because you'd knelt in the rain for 2 hours, holding an umbrella over a sick stray cat until someone from the shelter could come get it. Maya would have stepped over that cat without a glance. A tear finally escaped, rolling down my cheek. That's such a stupid reason to fall for someone. Maybe. A small smile tugged at his lips, the first genuine one I'd seen. But it's the truth. You have this ridiculous capacity for caring, even when the world has given you every reason to become bitter and cold. You're everything she's not. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on me. The baby. Liam. My future. Everything hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of a choice I couldn't take back. When I opened my eyes again, I found him watching me with an intensity that made my breath catch. If we do this, if I keep this baby and we try to make this work, I need you to promise me something. Anything. No more tests. No more games. You don't get to punish me for Maya's sins. My voice grew stronger with each word. I'm not her replacement or her substitute. I'm Chloe. Just Chloe. And if that's not enough for you, then we end this right now. You've always been enough. He leaned forward, resting his forehead gently against mine. You've always been more than enough. I was just too blind to see it, even after I got my sight back. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. A wet laugh bubbled out of me, half sob, half genuine amusement. That's really cheesy. I know. His breath ghosted across my lips. I've been saving it for the right moment. Liam? I whispered against his mouth. Yeah. I'm still really mad at you. I know. He kissed me softly, carefully, like I was something precious that might shatter. I'll spend however long it takes making it up to you. When he pulled back, his eyes were suspiciously bright. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For everything. For the games, for the lies, for putting you through hell because I was too damaged to admit what I really wanted. I studied his face, memorizing every detail. The small scar, the way his eyes crinkled slightly at the corners, the vulnerability in his expression that he'd never shown Maya. I jumped into that ocean knowing it was a setup. Did you know that? He shook his head, confusion flickering across his features. I saw your double untie himself. I knew it was fake. I smiled sadly. But I jumped anyway, because I realized something in that moment. I wasn't jumping for Maya's leftover boyfriend. I was jumping for the man who got up at 3 in the morning to walk me home from my night shift. Even though he pretended he couldn't see where he was going. I was jumping for the man who somehow always knew when I'd skipped meals, and would order too much food by accident. I was jumping for you, Liam. The real you. His composure finally cracked. A single tear traced down his cheek, and he didn't bother wiping it away. You're going to ruin me, Chloe. Good. I reached up to cup his face, my thumb catching the tear. Because you've already ruined me for anyone else. The kiss we shared then was different from all the others. It wasn't driven by deception or performance or need. It was a promise. A beginning. When we finally broke apart, I took a shaky breath. Okay. Okay. He searched my face, hope and fear warring in his expression. Okay, we try this. We keep the baby. We figure out this impossible mess together. I managed a real smile, probably the first genuine one in months. But Liam? I picked the baby's name. After everything you've put me through, you owe me that much. He laughed, the sound rich and full of relief. Deal. Though I reserve the right to veto anything too ridiculous. We'll see about that. I settled back against the pillows, suddenly exhausted but in a different way than before. Not the bone-deep weariness of despair, but the tired contentment of someone who'd finally stopped running. Liam stood up to call the doctor back in, but I caught his hand. Hey, one more thing. He turned back, eyebrow raised in question. The debt collectors. I want you to call them off for real this time. And the debts, I'll pay them back myself. I don't want your money solving my problems. I need to do this on my own terms. Pride flickered across his face. You know, most people would jump at the chance to have someone else pay off their debts. I'm not most people. I lifted my chin stubbornly. And I'm definitely not Maya. No, he agreed softly, bringing my hand to his lips. You're infinitely better. But Chloe, let me help anyway. Not because you can't do it yourself, but because that's what partners do. They help each other. Partners. The word settled warm in my chest. Fine. But I'm paying you back. Every cent. Even if it takes years. I'll hold you to that. His smile turned mischievous. I'll even charge you interest. I threw the spare pillow at him. You're impossible. And you're stuck with me now. He caught the pillow easily, his reflexes making it clear he'd been able to see perfectly this whole time. Fair warning, I'm a terrible patient when I'm sick, I can't cook to save my life, and I tend to hog the blankets at night. Good thing I'm an excellent caretaker. I can cook decently when I'm not too exhausted, and I run cold anyway. The normalcy of the banter felt surreal after everything we'd been through. Though I'm warning you now, pregnancy cravings are real, and I will send you out at 3 in the morning for pickles and ice cream. Already looking forward to it. He leaned down to kiss my forehead. I'll go get the doctor. Try not to make any more life-altering decisions in the next 5 minutes. As he left the room, I finally allowed myself to fully acknowledge the comments that had been scrolling past my vision this entire time. I can't believe this is happening. This is the best plot twist ever. But what about Maya? This isn't over. Who cares about Maya? Team Chloe all the way. Wait until the King family finds out about this. That last comment made my stomach clench. I'd been so focused on Liam that I'd forgotten about the bigger picture. His family. The wealth and power that came with the King name. Maya's inevitable return. This wasn't a fairy tale ending yet. We still had mountains to climb. But as Liam returned with the doctor, as he settled into the chair beside my bed, and took my hand again with a possessiveness that made my heart skip, I realized something important. For the first time in my life, I wasn't facing those mountains alone. So, the doctor said, looking between us with a knowing smile. Have we made a decision about the pregnancy? I looked at Liam. He looked at me. And together we said, we're keeping it. The doctor nodded approvingly and launched into a discussion about prenatal vitamins and nutrition plans and follow-up appointments. I tried to focus on his words, but my attention kept drifting to the man beside me, his thumb tracing absent patterns on my hand, his profile strong and sure in the harsh hospital lighting. This wasn't the ending I'd imagined when I stood on that rooftop, ready to end everything. It wasn't the revenge I'd plotted when I first discovered Liam's deception. But maybe, just maybe it was something better. Something real. 3 months later, I stood in the penthouse Liam had insisted we move into, despite my protests. The floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. The same city where I'd once struggled to survive. Now in the morning light it looked almost beautiful. My hand rested on my growing belly, the bump just starting to show. The morning sickness had finally passed, replaced by an appetite that constantly surprised me. Liam had made good on his promise about midnight snack runs. Behind me, I heard the elevator ding. Only 2 people had the access code. Liam, who was at a business meeting, and the person he'd insisted on adding to the approved list. My social worker, Sarah, stepped out carrying a familiar folder. She'd been helping me navigate the legal complexities of my parents' abandoned debts. Chloe, you're going to want to sit down for this. My heart jumped into my throat. What is it? Is it Maya? Did they find? No, nothing like that. Sarah's expression was strange, a mix of anger and satisfaction. We finally got access to your parents' offshore accounts. The ones they set up when they won the lottery. I sank into the couch, my legs suddenly unsteady. And your parents didn't leave you with debts, Chloe. Sarah opened the folder, pulling out a document. They left you with a very elaborate cover story. The debts were fake, planted documents designed to make you look desperate. The yacht explosion. She paused, clearly uncomfortable. It was staged. Your parents and Maya are alive. The words didn't make sense at first. My brain refused to process them. What? They're alive and living in Monaco. And according to the investigation, this was all Maya's idea. Sarah's voice hardened. She convinced your parents to fake their deaths, plant the fake debts, and push you to suicide. She wanted Liam to think she was dead so he'd let go of his vendetta. And she wanted you dead so you couldn't expose the truth. Nausea rolled through me, and it had nothing to do with pregnancy. She tried to kill me. My own sister tried to kill me. Yes. Sarah sat beside me, her hand on my shoulder. But here's where it gets interesting. Your parents weren't entirely on board with the suicide part. They set up a substantial trust fund in your name, accessible only if you survived past a certain date. It's worth about $50 million. I couldn't breathe. $50 million. Enough to pay Liam back 100 times over. Enough to ensure my child never wanted for anything. Why would they? Guilt maybe? Conscience? Who knows? Sarah pulled out another document. But there's more. Interpol has been tracking them for lottery fraud. Turns out the lottery win itself was rigged. Maya had connections to some very unsavory people who helped orchestrate the whole thing. Your parents are facing international charges. The elevator dinged again. Liam stepped out, took one look at my face, and was across the room in seconds. What happened? Is it the baby? My family's alive. The words felt surreal. And they tried to kill me. His expression went dangerously cold. Where are they? Liam, no. I caught his arm before he could do something rash. They're already facing charges. Let the law handle it. The law is enough. I stood up, steadier now. I don't want revenge. I don't want to become like them, like Maya. I just want to be done with them. Sarah cleared her throat. There's one more thing. Maya has been trying to contact you, Chloe. She doesn't know we've uncovered everything. She thinks her plan worked. I looked at the phone number Sarah held out. My sister's number. The sister who'd wanted me dead. What do you want to do? I stared at the number, memories flooding back. Maya teaching me to braid my hair when we were kids, only to cut off my pigtail with scissors the next day, because Mom complimented it. Maya hugging me after my first heartbreak, then dating the same boy a week later. Every kindness had been a precursor to cruelty. I want to talk to her. The decision surprised even me. Liam's grip on my shoulder tightened. Chloe. Not for her sake. For mine. I looked up at him, seeing the concern etched into his features. I need her to know she didn't break me, that everything she tried to destroy only made me stronger. Sarah nodded slowly. I can arrange a monitored call if you'd like, with the authorities listening in. Perfect. I took the paper with steady hands. Set it up for tomorrow. I want one night to prepare what I'm going to say. After Sarah left, Liam pulled me into his arms. I could feel the tension radiating through his body, the barely contained fury at what my family had done. You don't have to do this. You don't owe her anything. I know. I pressed my face against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. But I need closure. Real closure. Not the fake death kind. He kissed the top of my head. Then I'll be right there with you when you make that call. That night, I barely slept. Liam held me as I tossed and turned, his presence the only thing keeping me grounded. When dawn finally broke, painting the penthouse in shades of gold and pink, I felt strangely calm. The call was scheduled for 10 in the morning. Sarah arrived early with 2 agents from Interpol, setting up recording equipment at the dining table. The comments I'd been seeing for months were going absolutely wild. This is it. The confrontation we've been waiting for. Maya has no idea what's coming. I can't believe she tried to kill her own sister. Chloe better destroy her. For once, I agreed with them. At exactly 10 o'clock, I dialed the number. It rang 3 times before a familiar voice answered, honeyed and false. Hello. Maya. My voice came out stronger than I expected. It's Chloe. A sharp intake of breath. Then Chloe? Oh my God, Chloe. I thought, we heard you were. She was good. The fake emotion in her voice was almost convincing. Almost. Dead. I supplied coldly. Yes, that was the plan, wasn't it? Silence. Then more carefully. I don't know what you're talking about. We've been devastated. The yacht explosion. Cut the act, Maya. I know everything. The fake lottery win. The staged deaths. The planted debts. All of it. I watched the agents nodding approvingly at my direct approach. I know you tried to push me to suicide. More silence. When she spoke again, the sweetness was gone, replaced by something sharp and ugly. So you figured it out. Took you long enough. You always were the slow one. Liam's hand found mine under the table, squeezing gently. I squeezed back, drawing strength from his touch. Why? The question burned in my throat. Why go to such lengths? What did I ever do to you? Maya laughed, a brittle sound that made my skin crawl. What did you do? You existed, Chloe. You existed and you were everything I wasn't. Smart, genuinely kind, hardworking. Do you know how exhausting it was being compared to you? Why can't you be more like your sister? Chloe never complains. Chloe always helps out. Mom and Dad never said that. They always favored you. To your face, maybe. Her voice dripped with venom. But I heard what they said behind closed doors. How you were the good investment. How I was just pretty but empty. They only spoiled me because they felt guilty for preferring you. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. All these years, I'd thought I was the unwanted one. So you decided to kill me? That was your solution. Initially, I just wanted you gone. Out of my life for good. But then Liam came along. Her voice took on a dreamy quality. God, he was perfect. Rich, handsome, completely obsessed with me. But then he had that stupid accident and suddenly he was blind and useless. I had better options. So you threw him away. I glanced at Liam. His expression was carved from stone. I upgraded, Maya corrected. But then he started his little revenge plot, and I realized he'd never let me go. Not unless he thought I was dead. So I convinced Mom and Dad to help me disappear. The lottery scam gave us the money to do it properly. And pushing me to suicide was supposed to be the final touch. 2 birds, 1 stone. Liam would think I was dead and grieve himself into moving on. You'd be dead for real, finally out of my shadow. Everyone wins. She paused. Well, except you. But you were always the martyr type. I figured you'd appreciate the poetry of it. Rage, white hot and pure, surged through me. But beneath it was something else. Pity. Because looking at the bigger picture, Maya had won nothing. She was wanted by Interpol, living in hiding, her beauty already starting to fade according to Sarah's reports. And I had everything she'd ever wanted. You're right about one thing, I said quietly. Liam did move on. Good for him. Maya sounded bored now. I hope he finds some nice, boring girl who doesn't mind playing nurse. He did. I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. He found me. The silence that followed was delicious. What? Maya's voice rose to a screech. What did you say? Liam and I are together. We have been for months. I placed my free hand on my belly. And we're having a baby. The sound that came through the phone was inhuman. Pure, incoherent rage. When Maya finally formed words, they were poison. You stole him. You stole my boyfriend. You threw him away, remember? I just picked up your trash. The words were cruel, but after everything she'd done, I felt no remorse. And it turns out your trash is someone else's treasure. Liam's the best thing that ever happened to me. You bitch. You pathetic, desperate. Maya. Liam spoke for the first time, his voice cutting through her tirade like a blade. It's Liam. I'm here. She fell silent instantly. When she spoke again, her voice had shifted, becoming soft and pleading. Liam? Baby, whatever Chloe told you, it's not. I can see, Maya. He cut her off. I've been able to see for months. I saw everything. How you treated me. How you treated your sister. How you tried to have her killed. No, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. His voice was ice. You're a narcissist who destroys everything she touches. The only mystery is why it took me so long to see it. But I love you. The desperation in her voice was almost funny. I made mistakes, but I love you. We can start over. I'll come back, Will. You'll be arrested the moment you set foot in the country, one of the Interpol agents spoke up. This call has been traced and recorded. Miss Porter, you and your parents are wanted on multiple charges of fraud, conspiracy, and attempted murder. The line went dead. Maya had hung up. I sat back in my chair, feeling lighter than I had in months. Years maybe. The weight I'd been carrying my entire life. The need for my family's approval, the pain of always being second best, evaporated like morning mist. How do you feel? Liam asked softly. Free. The word came out as a breath. I feel free. Sarah smiled. The trust fund your parents set up is legally yours. Maya can't touch it. And with the recorded confession, the authorities have everything they need to proceed with charges. What will happen to them? I had to ask, even though part of me didn't want to know. Substantial prison time most likely. The lottery fraud alone carries a heavy sentence. Add in the conspiracy and attempted murder. Sarah shrugged. They'll be away for a long time. Good. The thought was dark but satisfying. They'd wanted to bury me. Instead, they'd buried themselves. The agents and Sarah gathered their equipment and left, promising to be in touch about the trial proceedings. When the elevator doors finally closed, leaving Liam and me alone, I let out a long breath. That was intense, I admitted. You were amazing. Liam pulled me into his arms, and I melted against him. The way you stood up to her, the way you took control of that conversation. I've never been more proud of anyone in my life. I had good motivation. I tilted my head up to kiss him. And good support. Always. He rested his forehead against mine. So, what do you want to do now? We have $50 million, a baby on the way, and the rest of our lives ahead of us. I pretended to think about it. Well, first I'm going to pay you back every cent you spent on me, with interest, just like I promised. He groaned. Chloe, non negotiable. I pressed a finger to his lips. Then I think we should set up a foundation. For people like me, drowning in debt they didn't create. We can help them get back on their feet. His expression softened. That's perfect. What else? Aprueba ding. I suggested shyly. Not anything huge, but something real. Something that's ours. I already have the ring. He pulled back slightly, a sheepish smile on his face. I've been carrying it around for 2 months, waiting for the right moment. This seems like a pretty good moment. He laughed and dropped to one knee right there in the middle of the penthouse. From his pocket, he produced a velvet box. Inside was a ring, not the massive diamond I might have expected, but something more subtle. More me. A sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. Elegant and unique. Chloe Porter, you jumped into an ocean for me when you knew it was a trap. You took care of me when you had nothing. You loved me when I didn't deserve it. You're having my child even though I've given you 1,000 reasons to run. His voice cracked slightly. Will you marry me? For real this time, no games, no lies. Just us. Tears streamed down my face as I nodded. Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. He slid the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. Liam always paid attention to details. When he stood, I threw my arms around his neck and kissed him with everything I had. This kiss tasted like promises and new beginnings, like surviving the storm and finding shelter. I love you. I whispered against his lips. The first time I'd said it out loud. I love you too. He kissed me again, softer this time. I think I loved you from the moment you yelled at that debt collector for blocking the sidewalk. You were so fierce. I was terrified. You were magnificent. He swept me up in his arms, making me squeal. Now let's celebrate. I'm thinking takeout from that Thai place you love, bad romantic comedies, and absolutely no thoughts about Maya or your parents or anything except us. That sounds perfect. 6 months later, on a crisp autumn afternoon, I married Liam King in a small ceremony at the Botanical Gardens. Only a handful of people attended: Sarah, some of Liam's close friends and family, and a few co-workers from my old jobs who'd become real friends. I wore a simple white dress that accommodated my very pregnant belly. Liam cried when he saw me walk down the aisle. I cried because he was crying. It was perfect. His family had been surprisingly welcoming once they understood the situation. His mother, a formidable woman named Catherine, had pulled me aside at our first meeting and said, "Anyone who can make my son smile like that is worth their weight in gold." Maya never made him smile. Not really. The foundation we'd started, Second Chances, we called it, was already helping dozens of people. I worked there part-time, reviewing applications and meeting with recipients. Every time I handed someone a check that would change their life, I thought about standing on that rooftop, ready to end everything. I thought about how close I'd come to never experiencing any of this. Our daughter was born 3 weeks after the wedding. We named her Hope, because that's what she represented. Hope for a future I'd almost thrown away. Hope that good things could come from terrible circumstances. Hope that love could heal even the deepest wounds. Maya and my parents went to trial. The evidence was overwhelming. They each received substantial sentences. I didn't attend the trial. I had better things to do, like watching my husband learn to change diapers and panicking adorably every time Hope hiccuped. The comments that had haunted me for so long finally disappeared about a month after Hope was born. One day they were there, a constant stream of opinions and spoilers about my life. The next day, silence. I didn't know why they stopped, and I didn't care. I was too busy living my life to worry about phantom narrators. On Hope's first birthday, we held a small party in the penthouse. As I watched Liam chase our giggling daughter around the living room, both of them covered in cake frosting, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. "What are you thinking about?" Sarah asked, coming to stand beside me. She'd become more than my social worker. She was a true friend. "How strange life is," I admitted. "A year and a half ago, I was ready to die. Now I'm watching my husband and daughter play, in a home I love, doing work that matters. It's surreal." "You earned this, Chloe. Every bit of it." "Did I though?" I turned to look at her. "Sometimes I feel guilty. Like I don't deserve to be this happy after everything Maya did. After the lies I told too." "You survived," Sarah said firmly. "You adapted to impossible circumstances, and you came out the other side with your compassion intact. That's not something to feel guilty about. That's something to celebrate." She was right. I knew she was right. But old habits died hard. That night, after Hope was asleep and the party debris was cleared away, Liam found me standing at the window, looking out at the city lights. "Hey." He wrapped his arms around me from behind, his chin resting on my shoulder. "You've been quiet since everyone left. What's going on in that beautiful head of yours?" "Just thinking about how far we've come. How different everything could have been." But it wasn't different. It was exactly what it needed to be to get us here. He turned me to face him. "Chloe, I need you to hear this. You are not defined by Maya's actions or your parents' choices. You're defined by who you chose to become despite all of that. You're defined by your kindness, your strength, your ridiculous insistence on paying me back even though we're married and share everything now." I laughed wetly. "I'm almost done with that, by the way. 2 more months." "I know. I've been tracking it." He cupped my face in his hands. "But the point is, you deserve every good thing that's happened to you. You deserve to be happy. Can you try to believe that?" I searched his eyes, seeing nothing but love and sincerity. Slowly, I nodded. "I can try. That's all I ask." He kissed me slowly, thoroughly, in the way that still made my toes curl after all this time. "Now come to bed. Hope will be up at dawn, and we both know neither of us functions well without sleep." As I followed him to our bedroom, passing the nursery where our daughter slept peacefully, I realized something. The comments might have disappeared, but I didn't need them anymore anyway. I'd spent so long living for an invisible audience, trying to prove myself to people who didn't matter. Now I was living for me, for Liam, for Hope, for the family we'd built from the ashes of betrayal and pain. That night, I slept deeply and dreamlessly for the first time in months. No nightmares about drowning. No visions of my sister's cruel smile. Just peace. 5 years later. "Mommy, can we get a puppy?" Hope asked for the 1,000th time, her big brown eyes, so like her father's, pleading up at me. "Ask your daddy," I deflected with a smile, focused on frosting the cupcakes for her kindergarten class party. "Daddy always says to ask you." She stomped her little foot adorably. "That's because Daddy's smart." Liam appeared in the kitchen doorway, our 2-year-old son James perched on his shoulders. "He knows who really makes the decisions around here." I threw a dish towel at him. He caught it one-handed, grinning. This was my life now. Playful banter in a sun-filled kitchen. 2 beautiful children who knew nothing but love and security. A husband who still looked at me like I hung the moon. A career helping others rebuild their lives. Friends who chose me, Not because of obligation but genuine affection. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Maya's parole hearing was denied again. Thought you'd want to know. I deleted the message without responding. Maya was part of my past, not my present. She'd served 7 years so far and would likely serve at least 10 more. My parents were in separate facilities, also with years left on their sentences. Sometimes I wondered if I should feel something about that, guilt or sadness or vindication. But I felt nothing. They were strangers who'd made their choices. I'd made mine. Earth to Chloe. Liam waved a hand in front of my face. Where'd you go? Just thinking how lucky I am. I pulled him down for a kiss, careful of James still on his shoulders. You kissing? Hope shrieked, and James echoed her with a giggle. You two are going to feel very differently about kissing in about 15 years, Liam told them solemnly. Never. Hope declared. Kissing is gross. I caught Liam's eye over our daughter's head, and we both laughed. These were the moments that mattered. Not the grand gestures or dramatic confrontations. Just this. Just us. Just life unfolding in its beautifully ordinary way. That evening, after the kids were in bed, Liam and I sat on the balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Do you ever regret it? I asked quietly. Taking a chance on me that night? Everything that came after? Not even for a second. He pulled me closer. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Chloe King. You and our babies. This life we've built. I'd go through all of it again in a heartbeat if it meant ending up here with you. Even the part where I tried to use you for protection, and maybe a little revenge? Especially that part. He kissed my temple. It was the beginning of our story. The messy, complicated, beautiful beginning. I leaned into him, feeling the steady beat of his heart against my back. The city sprawled below us, millions of lights beginning to twinkle as darkness fell. Somewhere out there, people were struggling the way I once had, drowning in circumstances beyond their control, wondering if they'd ever surface. I couldn't save them all, but through second chances, I could help some of them. And maybe that was enough. What are you thinking? Liam asked, his breath warm against my ear. That I'm glad I didn't jump. The confession came easily now. That night on the rooftop, when I was so close to ending it all. I'm grateful I chose to live. Me too. His arms tightened around me. So grateful you can't even imagine. We sat there in comfortable silence as night fully claimed the sky. Behind us, our children slept safely. Around us, the life we'd fought for continued its gentle rhythm. Ahead of us stretched infinite possibilities, adventures not yet lived, memories not yet made. I'd started this journey drowning in debt and despair, watching phantom comments narrate my misery. I'd survived betrayal, deception, and my own family's attempt to destroy me. And now I was exactly where I was meant to be. In Liam's arms. In our home. In this life we'd built together, messy and imperfect and absolutely perfect all at once. I love you. I whispered into the gathering darkness. I love you more, he whispered back. Impossible. Watch me prove it. He stood, pulling me up with him. Come on. Let's go to bed. I want to hold you and count my blessings. As we walked inside, leaving the balcony and the city lights behind, I took one last look at the view, at the life I'd almost thrown away. And I smiled. Because against all odds, despite everything that had tried to break me, I'd survived. More than survived, I'd thrived. The girl who'd been ready to jump off a rooftop had learned to fly instead. And that, I thought as Liam pulled me close and switched off the lights, was the only ending that ever really mattered.